Hello there. As promised, here is the Q&A. Without any delays, let's get through the questions. From G. Mary O'Clark 6970. What about the Far Side Enclave? Are they in the new galaxy or are they back in the Milky Way? I mentioned this several times, but I will repeat it here for all to hear. No, the enclaves aren't in this crossover. They would cause too much trouble for the narrative. Farsight and his friends won't show up. From Xera Gusta. Are you planning to have the Tau interact with any other sci-fi universes, like Destiny, Warframe, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Stargate, Spaceballs, etc., etc.? In smaller videos discussing a potential crossover scenario, like what I did with Star Wars versus Warhammer 40k and Halo versus Warhammer 40k? Sure. Narrated crossover story? Hell no. Not until the Star Wars X Warhammer 40k series is done with. You have no idea how much work goes into writing scripts, figuring out a story, thinking about world building to make, the story balanced and not just be powered fantasy, like power wank. No, I need to focus on this. No other way around it. I can't write 20 stories at once. I tried that in the past, it never worked out. Never. Not once, and I did it more than once. Not again, I am not making this mistake again. Next question. From Bright Blue 6184. Did you know that in Star Wars there are biological creatures that can use hyperspace to travel FTL, known as space whales? The reason I mention this is because in the context of Star Wars X 140k, if Tyranids were absorbed Star Wars whales, blah blah blah. Okay. I am not reading the entire explanation about why you ask your question. I am not dismissing, but I think that everyone here is intelligent enough to figure out the rest of your reasoning and, well, the text of your question is on the screen. Okay, first, yes, I am very much aware, and two, this is the main reason why I decided that Tyranids won't show up in this story. No way, no how. I, a little fact that some people might not know, love world building. I like it a lot. If you watch the episodes that I made until now, you would notice that I'm setting some things up. I'm trying to make things balanced, like they connect to each other. That there are things that are happening in the background that you not necessarily need to know about. Just, not know the details. And the knowledge that there are FTL capable or hyperspace travel capable animals in the Star Wars galaxy, well, that basically means that if Tyranids get their hands, claws, teeth, tentacles, whatever, on those creatures, the entire Sky River galaxy is doomed. Like there is no other way around it. They are absolutely screwed. Like this is worse than the Vonk invasion. Far worse. Far worse. I am not even talking about the ludicrous abilities that the Tyranids might gain through eating creatures through the Star Wars galaxy, and there are some really stupid, unbalanced powers, biological abilities in the Star Wars galaxy. Like a really great amount. So yeah, the Tyranids won't show up. I am well aware about space whales, and I am not taking the risk of introducing them. Next question from Patriot1776 Okay. What's your favorite part of doing this? Getting paid. I am not even joking. It might sound greedy to some of you, but hear me out. because that's important. I first started writing stories when I was 12 years old. I am now in my mid-20s. I have over a decade of experience of writing stuff. For a time I wrote for myself and didn't show it to anybody. It was basically dealing with my feelings, depression, difficult situation at home, blah blah blah, not important at this moment. When I started to post it here and there, and I experienced many failures, then I moved from from Polish, my national language, to English, and then I started my YouTube. And now, after over a decade later, I'm getting paid for doing what I love, which is amazing feeling. And yeah, just the fact that I get paid for my work, for what I like to do, damn man, this is amazing feeling. Of course, there are others. The interactions with fans, with my viewers, like even this Q&A, I very much enjoy this, because I like interacting with people, seeing art pieces created for my series. Damn, I must say this because that is very important. The first two artists with whom I worked with was Markismo and Hayden Lumpkin. And the fact that they wanted to work with me, that they created art for my series, for Tau Empire Reimagined and Damocles Golf Crusade Rewrite series, damn man, to see your creation as an art piece, that might be very close second, maybe first, maybe they are on tie on the first place. Because I'm shit at drawing things. Overall, I don't have that talent. I just don't. But others that do get my message and can turn it into art. And that is great. I really like it. On the same note, that's why I encourage people to, if my series inspires you to draw something, don't be shy and hide it. I would be glad, I would be honored to show it off to people, for people to enjoy, to see your interpretation of my work. Okay, let's move on before I get emotional. Next question is from VoomVoom4522. What a name. Alright. Will we ever actually see other faction remnants in the series? Yep. I mean, technically, you already did. We have a rogue trader. Of course, it's a rogue trader who joined with Tau, but this is like almost Imperium-like faction. So you will see more of a rogue trader. She has an important part in the story to play. In fact, screw it. Here, I wanted to keep it a little secret, but I can show it now. This is the Herald of Prophet, art created by Macave. You see this little ship below? That's Venator. This is 7.3 kilometer long Grand Cruiser. That belongs to Blackthorn Dynasty. So as you can see on this example, there will be a touch of Imperium of Man in the story. There will be, of course, the Kroot, the Votan, the Leagues of Votan, who are allied with the Tau. Not their full strength, of course, but the ones who were, at the time, within Tau Empire borders. The Kroot, and some Eldar. For now, I can guarantee that there is at least one Eldar on the Herald of Prophet. And yes, he is Rogue Trader Slovar, one of many. But I will leave tastes of Francesca Dominica Blackthorn for another day. Moving on. Another question, basically two people asked basically the same question. House Dark Steed and Ivan Torres 641 basically asked the question about how far into timeline do you plan to go in this story. How far I will go? How long will there be interest in the series? Like, if the interest will drop to 0, I will not push forward with it because evidently it failed. So currently I have plan of what will be happening to around the time of the Clone Wars, the start of them at least. I am not planning out the Clone Wars themselves yet because, well, I will need to rewrite the entirety of the Clone Wars from the ground up, which will be extremely pleasant experience, I can already tell. Not only the events that I have planned will impact the galaxy and will change the start of the Clone Wars a little bit, but even more importantly, there is conflict between the Clone Wars TV series and the old Expanded Universe comics. So I will have to basically write entirety of the Clone Wars by myself from the ground up. I can't wait for the day when that happens. Expect posting of like half-drunken Polish man in a suit and wet for some reason top hat, surrounded by vodka bottles when I attempt to do it. Because I doubt I would attempt doing that, rewriting or writing entirety of the Clone Wars from the ground up, sober. Okay, next question. This time from Star Killer Orc Boys. An interesting mix. Will Hondo Onaka ever show up? You insult me, sir. How could I not include Star Wars Jack Sparrow? He will show up, sooner or later. Next question from QWEFG3. I have no idea how I would say that as one name. Does this version of Star Wars Galaxy have EU Legends foes? Mostly curious since we had some things that could count as Eldritch Horrors or Chaos Gods, Abeloth, Magal Magal, or... Okay. If people couldn't guess by the fact that I brought Tau Empire into Star Wars Galaxy, the weakest faction in 40k, which lacks any impressive magic bullshittery, I am not really a fan of Eldritch Horrors and Chaos Gods. Look, overall I prefer EU to canon in some regards. In some cases I think the EU went too far, and Abeloth and Magal Magal are among such things that I consider where they went too far. Look, I said it before, I will say it again, I despise power fantasy. I despise a foe which is basically a natural disaster, but you can't really stop it, you can't really prevent it, you can try to survive it, and you might be lucky. Because it cuts narrative, in my opinion. I find stories where both sides are competent, they are almost equally matched, there's more tension, there's more weight put on the competence or either side. That type of stories I enjoy more. Fighting or facing horrors beyond our comprehension? Not so much. If I decide one day to bring those creatures into the story, like Abeloth, Magal Magal, expect that I grew tired with the series and decided to drop end times on this entire series and decided to kill it in a narrative way. Though I would prefer to not do that. I would prefer to have natural ending to this story. Next question from Jado Ansio 0.1. How do you feel like current series are going? Like this Star Wars X Warhammer 40k series? Far better than Damocles Gulf Crusade rewrite. Far more views, far greater interest. So I'm very happy. I think I would be the happiest if someone started to reacting to this series. So now you know, if you can promote my series to be reacted by some VTuber, YouTuber, whatever, go for it. Next, Nikos. Old subscriber. Will the Damocles Gulf Crusade rewrite series make a comeback in the future? Maybe. Maybe, but no promises. Look, the Damocles Gulf Crusade rewrite series gained almost no popularity. It had low viewership overall, especially to my other videos. So, yeah, there was no interest. I might consider returning to it, hell, maybe even rewriting it from ground up, because clearly I blame myself. I had to do something wrong to not gain people's interest. So, maybe in the future, maybe. We shall see. Question from Blazing Eagle 308. If the warp and the force are one and the same, why is it different in the Star Wars galaxy? Like, why does it not possessed by demons? If they aren't careful, why doesn't it make... Okay, so here is a simple explanation. Psychic and force abilities are extremely similar to each other, making it basically like two different magic systems in the same universe is overly complicated. Not to mention that there are two solutions to this. Either warp and the force are completely different, or they are similar enough that they could be used as the same source of power. If they are different, there are two solutions. Either the warp enters the Star Wars galaxy and with it chaos, demons and all of that bullshit, or it doesn't, and warp drives, navigators, psychers, even psychers, either stop working or drop dead. Basically, because that shock, it would kill them. It would kill them, simply as that. And because I don't intend to bring the damnable Chaos Gods into Star Wars Galaxy, I decided, okay, they are basically the same. And why it's different? Simple. Both are basically Sea of Souls, or Seas of Souls. It just... the Warhammer 40k one was warped into warp, and Star Wars is, well, the Sea of Souls, the Force. So one sea is calm, and one is consumed by storm and monsters. Is it the ideal solution? Probably not, but I prefer that to keeping this as two different magic systems, and more importantly, from keeping Chaos Gods from Star Wars Galaxy. I do not intend bringing those powers into this series. They are just, too complicated. They would cause too much narrative chaos and basically transform Sky River Galaxy into Milky Way Galaxy in the 41st millennium. Not worth it. No, simply not worth it. Not worth it. This isn't a story I wanted to tell. And final question. That poster at the end, where did it come from? I assume you are talking about this poster. It was created by Hayden Lumpkin, one of the oldest supporters of the channel. Before, he created a lot of art for Damocles Gulf Crusade Rewrite series and pieces regarding the homebrews that I ran, and well, yeah, there will be another episode of your homebrews series. I'm still getting to it, sorry. A lot of it is happening. But yes, Hayden Lumpkin, one of the oldest supporters for my channel, who creates amazing art, This piece especially, of a Domati battle psyker facing an Imperial Knight of House Terran, still remains my favorite he ever created. And as you can see now, he created many more. And I can never thank him enough. Now that Damocles Gulf Crusade rewrite is on hiatus, he moved to Star Wars X Warhammer 40k, and he created already several pieces of propaganda posters for the series. This is one, and here is second that went public not long ago. So yeah, Hayden Lumpkin, one of the heroes of this channel that I can't praise enough. Okay, that was the last question. That's about it. Those were all the questions you asked me. Now, listen up. I ask you to not put Q&A questions in the comment section under this video, because it's not a place for them. If you ask them here, they will be ignored. If there will be Q&A, I will announce it by the end of future episodes. Alright? Everyone got that? Great. Now, I have to go, as there is so much to be done and so little time. Stay tuned and stay safe out there.